10 members, over a majority are present. I hereby call the meeting to order.
Well, I can already tell where this is going.
We are gathered here today to assess the professional competency of Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Here in the sight of the goddess, we do so solemnly swear to pass fair and frank judgment.
Fair and frank, don't make me laugh.
Verity, if you be so kind as to summarize the case against Mr. Edgeworth.
On April the 5th, despite having been advised of the illegality of the investigation he was conducting, the accused refused to desist and eventually had to be detained by myself and Chairman Winner. His actions compromised the investigation into the murder of a certain defense attorney, and despite having been presented with copious evidence of her guilt, he continues to insist the suspect, one Kay Faraday, is innocent of all charges.
Perhaps you could explain the details of the murder to us as well?
Of course. On the morning of the 5th, the body of the victim was found here in the committee chamber. Further explanation will be provided by
me, Eustace Winner, Premier Prosecutor.
The floor is yours, Mr. Winner.
The murder itself happened late on the night of the 4th. The victim was Miss Rosie Ringer. The same night, an illicit auction was being held here in the very same room. Ringer took part in that auction, I think, yes, meaning the murder took place sometime during the auction. When she was found, Ringer was dressed in an outfit that matched the description of the auctioneer's. However, due to the fact the auction carried on after the murder had occurred, I deduced Ringer was not in fact the auctioneer.
You deduced fuck all, mate.
Sorry. You deduced nothing of the sort.
What an... Fuck's sake. Fuck's sake, Wolfie. Get on with it. What about the... What about the base on which the suspect was detained, Mr. Winner?
Yeah, I got this. So Faraday was overcome by...
crushing remorse, Eustace.
That's it. Tons of crushing remorse, so she confessed. According to her confession, she was on the roof of this building when she encountered a person in a red raincoat on the viewing platform. And that person was Miss Ringer, I take it?
Precisely, Mr. Chairman. The killer dressed the victim in the auctioneer's outfit after the fact. At the time she was killed, Miss Ringer was wearing a red raincoat.
And who won the race to find the red raincoat nearby? Me, that's who. Did you? I thought it was somebody from forensics.
Strictly speaking, it was found one of the forensic investigations under Mr. Winner's command.
I knew it. The blood analysis on the coat showed it was indeed Miss Ringer who had worn it. And the suspect's confession was the final nail in the coffin. She confirmed having committed the murder. As you can see, Kay Faraday is the killer. There's no way anybody else could have done it. All right, Miles, I expect you have some objections, so let's get them out the way, shall we? I have no objections, Chairman Winner. Well now, is that so? I thought it would have taken more than a single night to... No objections in the matter of my unauthorized investigation, that is. In the matter of Miss Faraday's proposed guilt, I have plenty.
I can personally attest to the fact Mr. Winner's investigation was fair and impartial.
Of course it was. When it comes to carefully conducted ops, I am the winner every time. You know, Miles, it's within my power to offer you a plea deal of sorts. And this is purely hypothetical, of course. If you were to withdraw your objections, you might wake up tomorrow and find yourself the ploughed over and seat in this committee. So I ask you again, do you have any objections, Mr. Edgeworth? If you think you can buy my silence, think again.
You will watch your mouth.
Only if the chairman watches his. I didn't come here to talk about committee seats. I came here to talk about the murder case. I demand a statement under oath, and I won't rest until I have one. I want to know exactly what the committee's view on the incident is. You want to put us on trial, my boy? Very well, if it will make you happy. Verity, please provide Mr. Edgeworth with the materials pertaining to the case.
Really? But, sir...
This'll be his last hurrah. Let's humour him with the send-off he desires.
If you say so, Mr. Chairman.
You have no objections to Verity representing the committee, I assume? None whatsoever.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Don't worry, Kay. Everything will be fine. You'll see.
Miss Ringer attended the auction as a potential buyer. The red raincoat was one of the items up for sale.
Oh.
Our assumption is after winning and paying for it, she left the auction with her purchase. The only exit from the storeroom was, of course, the hatch leading up to the roof. After she'd emerged on the viewing platform, that's when Miss Ringer was attacked by Miss Faraday. Shortly thereafter, her flame went out, and thus concludes the committee's view of the case.
The raincoat was on offer that night. Is that really true?
We believe so, yes. You remember the failed assassination attempt on the president of Zangfar, I assume? The raincoat is a piece of evidence from that case. It should, of course, have remained safely under lock of key in the appropriate facility, but our inquiries revealed that it did in fact go missing under mysterious circumstances.
And wound up in the auction along with everything else? Makes sense, I suppose. Wonderful work, Verity, just wonderful. Crystal clear as ever.
You flatter me, sir. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, perhaps you could save us all some time and simply admit defeat.
I'll do no such thing, thank you very much.
Very well. It's good to know you still have some fight in you.
It is? Why? Come to think of it, she said some strange things when she visited me this morning, too. What exactly is she up to?
Hold it!
In other words, a member of the committee was actively involved in the illegal evidence trade.
It is unfortunate. I don't know what else to say.
Of course, we'll be looking into any such activities as soon as this hearing is over and done with.
I commend your decision to pursue the matter further, Mr. Chairman.
Don't be silly, Verity. It's the least we can do, really. Not that it's any of your business, Miles. Not anymore. Oh, if only you remained a prosecutor. But you didn't. Now, if we're quite done making the old man cry over this whole sad affair.
Very well. Allow me to continue.
Hold it!
So the raincoat really was one of the auction lots?
Correct. I believe it originally belonged to Mr. Shelley the Killer.
Considering its status as a piece of evidence, it's the only logical conclusion. It's when he made his attempt on the president's life. Oh! There was an unexplained mannequin standing along the other items for sale. It could well have been used to display that coat prior to the auction. Do we know how the items were being smuggled in?
Still under investigation, and entirely unrelated to the matter at hand. Especially considering you'll soon officially be a prosecutor no longer, Mr. Edgeworth.
Sounds like the outcome of this hearing is a foregone conclusion. No surprises there. My personal circumstances aren't important right now. Please continue, Your Honour.
As I was saying, the raincoat is one of the items up for sale. Assumptions after winning and paying for it should let the auction make a purchase.
Why'd she leave so soon after making her purchase?
Because of the auction house rules. Winning bidders are expected to pay for their items immediately.
Miss Hart told us pretty much the same thing.
Miss Ringer, having paid for the raincoat, probably left immediately afterwards in accordance with the rules.
And how do you know all this?
Hold it!
Ms. Ringer was a member of the committee. Could she not have left the committee chamber via the main door?
While the auction was still underway, that would risk exposing its existence to those outside the trusted circle of attendees.
Given Miss Hart found out about it, I think its existence was already well exposed.
Rules of the auction say that attendees were to enter and leave via the hatch of the roof. Miss Ringer had no reason not to follow those rules, and given where the murder took place, we know that she must have done so.
Hold it!
Why? What possible motive could Kay have had?
That's exactly what we're hoping to establish in our upcoming interviews with Miss Faraday.
Coercive interrogation after the fact, something you seem to specialise in.
If the murderer knew what the attendees would all be leaving via the hatch, the roof would have been the perfect place to lie in wait. As I was saying, after she'd emerged onto the viewing platform, that's when Miss Ringer was attacked.
Hold it!
Her flame went out.
The flame of her life, Mr. Edgeworth. Though perhaps her flame was stolen from her is more apt.
The candelabrum that extinguished her life was one of the auction lots, meaning Kay had no way of getting hold of it to begin with.
Miss Faraday could not have lain in wait for the victim without knowing of the storeroom's existence. She could have easily snuck down the ladder and stolen it while the auction was underway.
If only we knew where the candle holder was during the auction. That would surely clear the matter up, no? Well, either of you? Sadly, we don't have anything that could tell us much on that front at the moment.
Forgive me, sir. This is something we're hoping to establish through thorough investigation.
Isn't that a shame, Miles, my boy? Seems this line of inquiry is something of a dead end then, isn't it? So their theory is the victim and her killer met on the roof, and that's where the murder took place. In other words, it assumes the viewing platform was the scene of the crime. But is that really the case? I thought I had evidence that clearly shows the story of what happened that night. Time to double check.
Objection!
Nope, not that one. Okay. There's definitely got to be the position of the blood somewhere.
Objection! Objection! Objection!
There we go.
Maybe you can clear something up for me, Judge Gavelle. But what is Miss Hart doing here at this hearing?
She's an eyewitness. I thought it would be obvious. Well, now, ain't really an eyewitness, more of an ear witness, I guess.
She's not exactly the most competent, inspiring choice to help you make your case, is she?
I like to think I chose my eyes a little more carefully than you, Miles Edgeworth.
Then you should question her more thoroughly because there's something she hasn't told you. Take a look at this. It's a photo taken by Miss Hart.
Yes, in the storeroom, correct? What of it?
According to your theory, the murder occurred on the roof. But according to Miss Hart's testimony, she happened to witness the entire incident unfold in the storeroom, just before she took this picture. Wait, you're saying Gavelle got it wrong? That's exactly what I'm saying. What? Miss Hart, if I may confirm your account of the event you witnessed last night, you saw the person in the picture, correct?
I sure did, clear as day, with my own two eyes to boot.
And what were your impressions at that point?
Impressions? This right here's a scoop of the century, something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was hoping more of your impression of the person in question.
Oh, that there's a walking meal ticket?
Seriously?
Just a little joke. No need to look at me like I done your lunch. Oh, red raincoat, Brad. Why, I took one look and I thought, that's our perp right there.
And therein lies the rub for Miss Hart to have fought such a... For Miss Hart to have thought such a thing means the murder occurred.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, when you learn to use your words. If an explanation of the facts is all you require, you need only ask, you know.
What do you mean?
I assume you're about to raise the issue of the voices Miss Hart heard. Voices that may be unrelated.
Objection!
Unrelated? You can do better than that.
Was one of the voices Miss Hart heard really even Miss Ringer's? You're kidding me, right? Them folks were talking crime-related turkey, or my name ain't Lotta Dang Hart. Oh, but did you hear them clearly? Well, I can't rightly say for sure, but I can't rightly say nothing and you know it. They're using voice changes. I done told you that. Precisely. Miss Hart heard voices, but those voices were disguised. Which means we can't even be certain that whatever she did overhear has anything to do with the murder. You don't need to yell objection in order to cite me, Mr. Edgeworth.
It seems I overestimated you, Judge Gavelle. Nonsense. Verity's the best of us, my boy. The very best. And yet she believes that what Miss Hart heard might not have had anything to do with the murder? Even supposing that's the case, it doesn't prove the murder didn't happen in the storeroom. The incident happened before the victim was able to even go up to the roof. That much we can say for certain. And I can tell you why.
Bloody handprint.
Take that!
We initially thought the person in the red raincoat was the culprit.
Because Miss Hart said as much.
Indeed. She told us about the blood she saw on the person's hand. I doubt many people would have thought differently given her testimony. Ergo, if this person was the killer, the blood we see would be from when they attacked the victim. But knowing what we know now, this person is in fact the victim. It recontextualizes everything. The presence of the blood still shows the picture was taken after the attack. But now, it tells us something very important about the victim too. There's no doubt in my mind the victim was attacked in the storeroom. But here we have photographic evidence of her standing upright and alive, albeit with a bloody hand. This can only mean that Ms. Ringer survived the attack. The blood on her hand is from the wound she sustained. What are you talking about? Who dies from a hand wound? The wound wasn't on her hand, Mr. Winner. I managed to use her hand to try and staunch a wound. That's right. While it's impossible to tell from this angle, the victim was already mortally wounded here. Well, that certainly would change things, wouldn't it? It very much would. Not least by making it absurd to suggest that Kay was the attacker. Her encounter with the victim happened after this picture had been taken. After the victim had already been attacked and was in critical condition. I put it to you that all Kay witnessed was the victim finally succumbing to her wounds.
That would have been quite the coincidence.
It's a textbook case of wrong place, wrong time, I'd say.
You seem to be forgetting a rather important fact, Mr. Edgeworth.
That or pretending not to remember it. What? What fact am I forgetting? I think it's time to wrap things up, don't you, Verity? Put the boy out of his misery. Dad, Gavel works for me! Why do you keep giving her orders? That's my job! Ah, you really are a total and utter embarrassment. I am not! I hate to break it to you, but you both are. Go do it, Gavel. Put Edgeworth out
of his misery. As you wish. Miss Ringer's body was found with 3 wounds in her chest, and we all know those wounds, and we all know what the wounds came from, don't we? That's right. They're from when she was stabbed in the chest by a 3-armed candelabra. I doubt anybody could survive such grave wounds. If you care to read the coroner's report, I'm sure you would change your tune. Nicely done, Gavel. Now, Edgeworth, you have to make several objections. Yes, I'm afraid I will. What? Why? Weren't you listening? Oh, I was listening, very carefully, in fact. Hence my objections. Oh, come on! Why do you always have to undermine me? That's never my intention, I assure you. It isn't. You do it so well to yourself every single time. Of course it isn't. Yeah, I knew that, because I'm... Please, Eustace, please stop. For goodness sake, you've already embarrassed me enough. What do you mean, Dad?
Hold it!
3 wounds. That can't have been pleasant.
Yes. Which is why we must see the perpetrator of the cruel act pays for their sins.
Don't listen to her, Kay. She's just trying to scare you. If you could please continue, Judge Gavel.
Very well. As I was saying, there were 3 wounds.
Hold it!
I do, but perhaps we should ask Mr. Winner.
He does, I'm sure, don't you, Eustace?
Who, me? You bet I do. I know the case inside out. Who does he think he's fooling? Eustace, my boy, make an old man happy and he's glad of the coroner's report, won't you? Sure, let's see. Yada yada yada, 3 puncture wounds, blah blah blah, candle holder. No way, that's what they used? Crazy!
Precisely. The wounds were inflicted just as Eustace says.
Hold it!
And you're sure the stabs to the chest were the cause of death? No doubt about that?
None. One of the spikes in the candelabrum even pierced the victim's heart. Unless you mean to call Dr. Hurt's professional opinion into question, we can only treat that as fact.
The coroner's opinion backing up my own winning ones. Now that's what I call a flawless victory. Well, I'm certainly not about to ignore the coroner's findings. What about my findings? You can't just ignore them. If the cause of death really was the puncture wounds to the chest and the candelabrum, that would seem to contradict one of the pieces of evidence we gathered. He's not just ignoring my findings, he's ignoring me! Do something, Gavel!
As you wish. At the very least, I will ensure he cannot ignore his own my own conclusions.
Hold it!
But the victim may not have necessarily have died innocently. I think we can say that as much at least.
Perhaps, but she would surely not have lived for longer than a few moments either. So there are people who could survive even if you stabbed them in the chest?
Sure, there might be, and there might not be too.
So which is it? Trust me, there are not. And in case you're still tempted to believe they might be, if you cared to read the coroner's report, I'm sure you would change your tune.
Hold it!
Cause of death is a set of 3 puncture wounds on the left side of the chest inflicted by a candle holder.
Well done for reading, Mr. Edgeworth. The report forms the basis of my own conclusions.
In other words, if I disprove what it says, I disprove your conclusions too.
You have the strangest sense of humour. I wouldn't mind seeing you try. Before you do, I'd advise you to read the report very carefully. After all, I'm not interested in opinions, only solidly grounded deductions.
Very well. You shall have my deductions.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Don't worry, Kay. Everything will be alright. Need to find something that will prove the victim was still alive and breathing immediately after the attack. If I can't, Kay's fate will be sealed. Oh, it's the key card record. There's the coroner's report. Pretty puncture wound on the left side of the chest on a candle holder. The victim also suffered a head injury post-mortem. A burn mark on the victim's head.
Didn't think that'd be right.
Objection!
No. Still can't present profiles. So that doesn't help me none.
Objection!
No, I've got no idea what this one's going for. Gonna have to look this one up, I'm afraid. I had a feeling it was something to do with this, but it just wasn't. That one little piece wouldn't just click in my mind.
Objection!
Chairman Winner, you know what this is, of course. The red raincoat, that's right, isn't it, Verity?
Yes, sir. The one Miss Ringer was wearing. I warn you, Mr. Edgeworth, you will not be thanked for treading old ground here.
Well, I'm afraid I might have to regardless. Now then, if you answer this for me, Judge Cavell. You told us the victim's bloodstains were found on the coat. Do you remember where exactly they were found?
Of course, found on the hood and... Oh no.
What's the matter, Verity? The hood and... Was blood found anywhere else on the raincoats?
No, it was not.
Doesn't that strike you as odd? The victim died of a stab wound to the chest. Would that lead one to expect to find bloodstains in that area? And yet, the only blood was on the hood. That's a glaring contradiction if I ever saw one. The head wound the victim suffered wasn't just some incidental injury. It was inflicted before the stab wounds to her chest.
Perhaps you're correct. Perhaps the victim did sustain the head injury first. As you said, if she'd been stabbed first, there should be blood from the chest area of the raincoat. Therefore, Miss Ringer could not have been stabbed before the head injury had been inflicted on her. Even if we concede this point, the head injury came before the chest wound, what difference would it make? How does it change your understanding of the case?
I'd say it changes things a great deal. It raises an even more fundamental contradiction.
Quite a bold claim, Mr. Edgeworth. I have to admit you have me intrigued. Perhaps you could show us this fundamental contradiction with some evidence. The coroner's report says the head injury was sustained post-mortem.
Take that!
This is Dr. Hurd's preliminary findings, according to which the victim suffered a head injury post-mortem.
But the order suggested by the bloodstains on the raincoat is...
Exactly the opposite, yes.
Bailiff, the court hereby subpoenas Dr. Hilda Hurst to the committee chamber with all due haste. Until she testifies, the case cannot be brought to a close.
Yes, Your Honour, I'll fetch her at once.
Unfortunately, Dr. Hurst is a very busy woman. I doubt she'll be able to come immediately. In the meantime, there's another important angle I'd like to explore. Frankly, something's been bothering me about the person at the heart of the case. The so-called ringleader. Who exactly are they?
Yeah, good point. We never looked into that, huh?
Despite having been mentioned repeatedly in the hearing, we still don't even know the most basic facts that might help us uncover the identity. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any thoughts on the matter?
We've seen nothing that might serve as clear evidence to the auctioneer's identity as of yet. But there is someone involved with the case that I can name. I suspect that at the very least, they might be able to point us in the right direction. And that's... Chairman Winner. I demand you testify as to what you know. What? Are you crazy? Why would you accuse my dad?
You would cast doubt on the integrity of the chairman of the committee? Do you understand the implications of such an act?
I don't care who or what he is, we're talking about the truth here. And about a man who seems dead set on framing Kay at all costs. The mask, concierge, ticket stub, everything else. The items Kay was carrying over when she was found, they were deliberately placed in her possession somehow by Chairman Winner himself.
A shocking accusation and one I find hard to believe, but for the sake of completeness, I must ask, why would he do such a thing?
To cast suspicion on Kay, of course, why else? I even managed to get him to say something to that effect.
Chairman Winner, your rebuttal, please.
I think the good chairman might be in shock. So what if I did? Did you hear me, dear boy? I said, so what if I did? You say you got me to admit as much? Where is your proof, With no witness to speak of, your word alone is hardly enough to make an accusation like that stick. Or do you mean to tell us you have something more to base your outburst on? He still has the arrogance he showed in the detention centre, and yet...
Mr. Edgeworth, I'm going to have to ask you to explain yourself. If that's all right, Mr. Chairman.
Not at all. I'll be very interested to hear this for myself. I'm intrigued to learn what Miles might have gotten the idea that I'm some sort of criminal. Because you'll never find a more fine and upstanding citizen than myself. He has a lot of nerve acting all innocent like that. Very well, let's start at the very beginning. The fact the auction took place right here in this hallowed trial chamber is a point of suspicion. A location that should by rights only be accessible to members of the committee. Yeah, they all have key cards to the room after all. Furthermore, these auctions seem to be held on a somewhat regular basis. And for that to be possible, there can only be one winning explanation. That's right, Mr. Winner. The auctioneer is a member of the committee. Well, no! What on earth is wrong now? What did I do, Dad? I played right into his hands. Oh, you did indeed, you utter nitwit. But Miles, my boy, you have to realize you've cast quite the wide net with your explanation.
This is true. There are 11 members on the committee altogether. 10, given Miss Ringer's unfortunate passing. 10 potential suspects in total.
Well, it certainly isn't me. It can't be the chairman, can it? Whoever it is, speak up right now. Calm down, all of you, please. Well, Miles, is that the proof you've got against me? You're very quiet all of a sudden. But it's too late to back out now. You accuse the former chief prosecutor and current committee chairman of a crime. I would tell you to prepare for the worst. But there's no preparing for what you're about to face. You've been forcing us to argue over every little detail for a while now. Where the murder happened, the order of the victim's injuries, some other things I barely remember. But you needn't have bothered, my boy, because it's all irrelevant in the end. Think about it. The suspect herself already said she did it. And that's all that matters at the end of the day, and her sentence will be lighter for it, so rejoice! Feel free to pick holes in it as you see fit. How can I when there was barely a testimony to begin with?
That man, he's a very powerful person, isn't he? It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. Please, just let it go. I did it. I'm the murderer. I even remember doing it.
You saw a flash of something half remembered, Kay, nothing more. If you must believe in something, believe me when I say you should believe in your own innocence instead.
But
I'm against the head of the committee here. This isn't going to be easy. But he seems to think he's already won. Perhaps I can use that against him.
Hold it!
Even if the broad strokes are correct, it doesn't make something true. Don't be such a stick in the mud. I'd say the bigger picture here is more than enough. After all, every case has its own little inconsistencies and contradictions. If we let ourselves be bogged down by every single one, we'd never make any arrests. Once we did, the trials would drag on forever. Even you understand that, right? Not in the slightest, hence my inquiry into the details. Oh, to be so young and pig-headed. Anyway, you keep digging these little details.
Hold it!
I seem to recall the ringleader's identity and the faulty coroner's report being critical points of contention. Yes, I was listening, my boy, but critical's a matter of opinion. How can you possibly suggest such fundamental issues are not important? Perhaps it is your ability to make sound judgments that should be on trial here today. Oh, bravo, young hothead. Absolutely cutting stuff. You do like to try, though, don't you?
Hold it!
There's no way any of what we discussed today is irrelevant, unless you intend to bury the truth. None of it is relevant, dear boy. The only reason you keep trying to make it relevant is because you're up the creek without a paddle.
Hold it!
Just because you confess to something doesn't make it the truth. Kay is suffering from amnesia, so any statement she makes should be taken with at least a grain of salt. Even so, that doesn't exactly prove anything for us, does it, dear boy? If would be nonsensical to dismiss her confession outright. I'll tell you what, why don't we ask her one last time? I'm sure she'll just say she did it again.
Fine, let's do it. Let's ask her again. We'll see if she really believes herself to be the culprit. Huh? You mean me? Is this really what you want, Mr. Edgeworth? If it goes badly, it could significantly weaken your position. I know, but there's no other way. I only request that I be the one to question her.
Oh, you really know how to tug at an old man's heartstrings, you know. But fine, ask away. On one condition. If this turns out to be a waste of time, that's it. We'll call the proceedings to an end, then and there. Agreed?
Call the proceedings to an end? You mean the hearing?
Yes, dear boy, that's right. Perhaps you're not a complete muddlehead after all. Now, just so we're clear, if we ask again and all that happens is the girl confirms her guilt, she's officially declared guilty on the spot. Yes, it sounds like a great plan if I do say so myself.
That's it? You just declare her guilty just like that?
That's the gist of it.
It's a big risk. But he's going to find a way to condemn her either way if I don't do something. Kay. Yeah? I know it's a lot to ask, but I need you to think. Do you remember anything else about what happened on the day of the murder? Anything that might help us prove your innocence? Why? Why are you still fighting, Mr. Edgeworth? It's no use. I can't be of help to you. I'm sorry. I'm too scared to try and remember anymore. What if I remember something even worse? If I did, I'd just be making more trouble for you. Please, please just accept it. The Kay you thought you knew is a dangerous criminal. A criminal who let you down and betrayed your trust. Don't worry, Kay. You have nothing to be afraid of. I may not have known you for very long, but I know you well enough. And right now, I'd say I know you better than you know yourself. You would never commit murder. You could never, because this is who you really are.
Take that!
You're the great thief Yatagarasu, a noble outlaw who would never stoop so low as to kill. Huh? I can't do it. I'm sorry. Because all I can see is the one memory that's returned. I have to face it. No, the only evidence of your guilt is the confession they forced out of you. As I said earlier, you have to believe you're better than that. Or are you saying you don't believe a word of what I've been telling you? It's not that. You're trying so hard to help me. And you're risking so much for me. It's too much. You have to stop. I'm begging you. So that's what's going on. I thought it was strange, but now I see. The reason you're allowing yourself to be railroaded into accepting your fate is because of me, isn't it? Which is exactly what the Kay I know would have done. You're a good person, Mr. Edgeworth. Sorry to burst your bubble, but I'm not. I don't plan on becoming one anytime soon. Because despite all your wishes to the contrary, I'm still trying to help you. So you see, I've merely been servicing my own ego regardless of what I put you through. Now, let's try this again. See the good in yourself, Kay, and remember the noble thief you truly are. The memory of you committing the murder, you need to question it with all you have. That's all I ask. So please, do it for me.
Kay!
What's wrong? Did you remember something?
It'd be like some cliche movie plot if she did.
A cow.
A cow?
Mr. Edgeworth, if you could perhaps ask her for more details?
Well, Kay, what can you tell us about this cow?
I remember now. The person in the red raincoat, she had it in her hand. A stuffed cow. I see it clearly now. Are you sure, Miss Faraday? Are you absolutely certain? Yeah, I'm sure. This court acknowledges the defendant's latest statements are new testimony.
Have you lost your mind, Verity? We can't accept testimony like this.
With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, information pertaining to the victim and her possession is
new and highly relevant evidence. Need I remind you of the addled state of her memory? No, this simply won't do!
addled. If we claim her memory is unreliable now, our own argument is weakened, sir. You said yourself only a few minutes ago, thanks to the suspect's confession, we need not worry ourselves with the finer details, did you not? We're here to call the validity of her memories into question. Then we must also call into question the confession of which our entire argument is based. Is that really the most visible course of action?
Yes, you're right. Proceed as you see fit, then.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We're still in the game, but only by the skin of our teeth. Only thanks to Judge Gavelle's intervention. It's almost as if she was on our side for a second.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, the stuffed animal?
I believe the cow in question is this here, Your Honour. We found it in the storeroom and believe it's yet another auction lot.
That's...
Do you know something, Gavelle?
No, it's just not what I imagined.
I suppose it's rather odd for the thing to be carrying. I should look it over carefully.